I stand alone in the bridal suite of Lakeview Villa, my wedding dress a heavy reminder of promises about to be broken. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimes 3 times, each toll piercing the fragile hope I've clung to all morning. Outside the carved oak door, whispers grow louder then fade, like waves of concern washing against my sanctuary. My phone grows slick in my palm as I check it for the 100th time. No calls. No texts. Just my own desperate messages to Nathan filling the screen. Where are you? Please call me. Everyone is waiting. Is everything okay? The last message sent 3 hours ago hangs unanswered, a digital testimony to my abandonment. 2 weeks ago, Nathan twirled me around our Boston apartment, his laughter bouncing off the walls as we practiced our first dance. The autumn sun streamed through our windows, casting golden light across his face as he dipped me dramatically. "You're going to make the most beautiful bride," he had whispered, his blue eyes crinkling at the corners. "2 more weeks, Dr. Brenner, and you'll be stuck with me forever." I remember the warmth that flooded my chest, the certainty that despite the chaos of my medical residency and his demanding business, we had found our center in each other. Last Tuesday, my fellow residents surprised me with cupcakes and champagne in the hospital break room. Dr. Winters, my supervisor, raised her plastic cup with uncharacteristic sentimentality. "To Callie," she toasted, "who somehow manages to be the most compassionate doctor on our floor while planning what I'm sure will be the wedding of the century." I blushed, uncomfortable with the attention but touched by their support. That night, Nathan had called while I was still at the hospital, his voice light but distracted. "Just one last business meeting tomorrow morning, then I'm all yours for the wedding weekend," he promised. "The investors are finally ready to commit. This could change everything for us, Cal." I smiled into the phone, picturing the eager way his hands always moved when he talked about his medical technology startup. "Go knock them dead. I'll see you at the lake house Thursday night." That was the last normal conversation we had. 3 days of silence followed, each hour stretching my nerves tighter until they threatened to snap. "Cold feet," my bridesmaids suggested yesterday, their voices too bright, too reassuring. Men always panic before the big day. But Nathan wasn't just any man, and this wasn't just nerves. Something had shifted. Something fundamental had broken loose and drifted away when I wasn't looking. My sister Delia's absence gnawed at me almost as much as Nathan's. Each time I called her, I reached voicemail or received hurried texts. "In a meeting, call you right back." But she never did. This morning, the wedding planner's concerned glances spoke volumes as she helped button me into my dress. "I'm sure he's just running late," she said, checking her watch for the 4th time. Traffic from Boston can be unpredictable. But her eyes told a different story. A soft knock breaks my reverie. My father's weathered face appears in the doorway, his formal suit making him look older, more fragile. In all my years, I've never seen him look so uncertain. "Sweetheart," he says, his voice barely audible over the pounding of my heart. He crosses the room and takes my trembling hands in his. The roughness of his palms grounds me, reminds me of the little girl who once believed her daddy could fix anything. His eyes meet mine, deep pools of regret and fierce protection. "I think we need to tell everyone to go home." The words hover between us, transforming what was meant to be from what is. I swallow hard, tasting the salt of tears I don't remember shedding. He's not coming. Not a question, but a statement of truth I've known for hours but refused to admit. Dad shakes his head once, his jaw tightening. "No, he's not." I close my eyes briefly, gathering what remains of my dignity. 200 guests wait below, cousins who flew in from California, college roommates who rearranged vacations, patients who switched shifts to celebrate with their favorite doctor. "I'll do it," I say, straightening my spine. "I need to face them myself." The walk down the grand staircase feels endless. Each step brings a new wave of hushed conversation that stops abruptly at my appearance. Not the entrance I had rehearsed. I stand before them, a bride without a groom, and somehow find my voice. "I want to thank you all for coming today," I begin, surprised by the steadiness in my words. "Unfortunately, the wedding will not be taking place. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience." Back in my hotel room later, I slide the diamond engagement ring from my finger-me grandmother's ring, reset with modern brilliance. It catches the late afternoon light, throwing prisms across the wall. For one terrible moment, I consider throwing it across the room, watching it disappear under the antique armoire. Instead, I place it carefully in its velvet box and snap it shut, locking away more than just platinum and diamonds. A week later, I paused beneath a towering oak in Boston Common, my fingers wrapped around a paper cup of coffee gone cold. 1 week has passed since I stood alone in a wedding dress, trying to explain the unexplainable to 200 guests. The October breeze catches my hair, and I tuck an errant strand behind my ear, watching children chase pigeons across the path. The hospital granted me 2 weeks leave pity time. I call it privately, though I'd argued to return immediately. Work feels like the only solid ground left. A familiar laugh cuts through the park sounds. My body recognizes it before my mind can process. That distinctive 3-note cascade, starting high and tumbling down Nathan's laugh. I freeze, coffee sloshing over my knuckles. The burn barely registers as I turn toward the sound, slow and mechanical, like a music box ballerina. There, by the water, Nathan walks with his arm looped through my sister's, his head bent toward hers, intimate and familiar. Delia tosses her hair, the same gesture from childhood when she got what she wanted. They haven't noticed me yet, wrapped in their private bubble of conspiracy. Sunlight glints off something on Delia's left hand as she reaches up to touch Nathan's face. My grandmother's ring grisette with modern brilliance now circles my sister's finger. The coffee cup slips from my grasp. Dark liquid spreads across the path like spilled secrets. The sound must catch their attention. Delia's head turns, her gaze sweeping the park until it locks with mine across 50 feet of autumn grass. I wait for shame to cross her face, for guilt to shatter her composure, for some sign that betraying her only sister cost her something. Instead, she straightens her spine and lifts her chin. The look in her eyes isn't apologetic, it's defiant, almost triumphant, as if she's finally claimed something she always deserved. Nathan notices her stillness and follows her gaze. When he sees me, the blood drains from his face, leaving him pale beneath his weekend stubble. He takes half a step forward, mouth opening, then closing. 3 years of loving him, of planning a future, of sharing dreams and fears and silent midnight conversations, distilled into this single tableau of betrayal. I could storm across the grass, demand explanations, create the scene they clearly expect, the wronged woman, wild with grief and rage. Instead, I turn and walk away, my steps measured and calm. Their eyes burn into my back, but I don't give them the satisfaction of looking back. The next morning, I sit in my parents' kitchen, the morning light painting everything in cruel clarity. My mother's teacup rattles against its saucer as I finish telling them. Nathan and Delia. My father's voice emerges like granite cracking. His weathered hands, the same hands that had held mine at the wedding venue, now clench into fists on the oak table. Together. I nod once, the movement sharp. She is no daughter of mine, he declares, rising from his chair with such force it scrapes against the floor. The sound makes my teeth ache. My mother's tears fall silently, tracking down her lined face. How could she do this to her own sister? She reaches for my hand across the table. Her own blood. This betrayal, my father begins, his voice thunderous with righteous anger. Dad, I interrupt him quietly. Don't cut her off completely, this is between us. They both stare at me, confusion mingling with their anger. Not that I'm defending her, I clarify, but dividing this family further won't fix anything. Later, I stand in what was once our apartment, mine and Nathan's, half the closet empty. His books gone from the shelves. The silence holds a different quality now, hollow rather than peaceful. On the kitchen counter, weighted down by his spare key, I find a note. His handwriting, once so familiar, now looks like a stranger's scrawl. I'm sorry, it just happened. 5 words to explain the demolition of 3 years. As if betrayal were a weather event, unexpected and beyond control. As if falling in love with my sister were a random accident, like slipping on ice. I crumple the note, then smooth it flat again, folding it precisely into quarters before tucking it into my pocket. Evidence, though I'm not sure of what. In the spare bedroom that served as our shared office, I find a small leather-bound planner wedged behind the desk. Delia's handwriting fills the margins. Coffee with N, lunch with N, museum with N. Dates stretching back 4 months, carefully coded but unmistakable once you know the truth. The hospital badge on my kitchen counter catches the afternoon light. Massachusetts General Hospital. Dr. Kali Brenner, Internal Medicine. My career, my calling, now tied to a city suddenly filled with landmines of memory, every street corner potentially hiding my sister and my former fiancé. I trace the embossed letters of my name, feeling the weight of decisions yet unmade pressing against my chest. Boston has always been home, but home requires safety, and safety requires trust. Neither exists for me here anymore. A month later, I slide the last cardboard box into my Honda's back seat, the springs groaning in protest. 3 years of medical residency and years with Nathan all packed into a vehicle that's seen better days. My fingers linger on the worn upholstery, finding comfort in its familiar texture. That's the last one, I tell myself, my voice sounding foreign in the empty Boston apartment. The morning sunlight catches dust motes swirling through the room that once held our future. 2 weeks ago, I sat across from Dr. Winters in her office, watching concern crease her forehead as I explained my request for transfer. Trinity Care in Oregon? She removed her reading glasses, rubbing the indentation on her nose. Callie, you're on track for chief resident next year. This is unexpected. I straightened my spine, the way I did when delivering difficult news to patients. It's a rural healthcare position. They need someone with my training. She studied me, seeing past my practiced composure. The hospital grapevine had spread news of my wedding disaster with ruthless efficiency. Sometimes starting over is the bravest choice we make, she said finally, her pen hovering over my transfer request. But are you certain? Boston Memorial has invested in you. We see your potential. My fingers twisted the bare spot where my engagement ring once sat. I'm certain. The scratch of her signature across the paper sounded like freedom. Now, standing in the doorway of what was once our home, I allow myself one last sweeping glance. The walls are bare except for the nail holes marking where our photos once hung. I don't need physical reminders of the life I'm leaving behind. Those images are burned into my memory with painful clarity. My phone buzzes with a text from my mother. Are you sure about this, sweetheart? Your father and I worry. I type back, I'll call from the road. Love you. What I don't say, I can't breathe in this city anymore. Every street corner holds a memory of Nathan. Every hospital corridor carries whispers about the doctor whose fiancé ran off with her sister. The highway stretches before me like a promise as I leave Massachusetts behind. Each mile marker puts distance between me and the shattered pieces of my former life. I roll down the windows, letting the wind whip through my hair, carrying away the scent of antiseptic and betrayal. By Nebraska, I find myself singing along to the radio for the first time in months. In Wyoming, I pull over to watch a sunset that paints the sky in colors I'd forgotten existed. Montana brings a thunderstorm that matches the turbulence inside, malevolent cleansing necessary. When I finally cross into Oregon 7 days later, exhaustion and anticipation war within me. The landscape transforms from flat expanses to rolling hills dotted with pines. Wren Hill appears around a bend in the road, small, unassuming, perfect. My cabin sits at the edge of town, partially hidden by towering evergreens. The real estate agent called it rustic charm. Translation: weathered wooden siding that needs fresh paint and a porch that tilts slightly to the left. But when I turn the key in the lock, something settles in my chest. The rooms are small but filled with late afternoon light. The kitchen cabinets hang crooked, but the pine floors feel solid beneath my feet. No ghosts here, no memories, just possibility. Dr. Brenner! A voice calls from the gravel driveway the next morning as I unload boxes from my car. Dr. Patricia Morgan stands with her hands on her hips, her silver hair cut in a practical bob. As Trinity Care's director, she'd interviewed me via video call, her no-nonsense questions paired with unexpected kindness. I thought you might need this. She holds up a basket covered with a checkered cloth. Welcome breakfast. Nobody should face unpacking on an empty stomach. She doesn't ask about Boston or Nathan or why a promising doctor would choose tiny Wren Hill over a prestigious residency. Instead, she helps me carry in boxes, commenting on the cabin's good bones and pointing out which floorboards creak. Over coffee and still warm muffins, she outlines my first week. We're short-staffed, so you'll hit the ground running. Hope that's okay. It's exactly what I need, I say and mean it. Later, I walk Wren Hill's main street, all 4 blocks of it. No one turns to stare. No one whispers behind their hands. The anonymity wraps around me like a blanket. I pass a hardware store, a diner, a small library, a bookshop with a local history display in the window. A coffee shop where the barista calls everyone hone, regardless of age. At Trinity Care, my office is small but bright. The desk faces a window overlooking pine trees rather than city buildings. I unpack my stethoscope, medical reference books, laptop. Last, I place a single framed photo on the desk, my medical school graduation. Just me in my cap and gown, before Nathan, before the broken engagement, a reminder of why I'm here. Dr. Brenner? Patricia appears in my doorway. Sorry to interrupt your settling in, but Mrs. Gardner needs a house call. Her arthritis is acting up and she can't make it to the clinic. I grab my medical bag without hesitation. Give me the address. You sure? You've barely unpacked. I'm sure. The faster I plunge into this new life, the less time I'll have to remember the old one. 15 minutes later, I am in front of the house. Mrs. Gardner lives in a small blue house with wind chimes hanging from every available hook on her porch. When I knock, a voice calls, "It's open, doctor." She sits in a worn armchair, her hands twisted with arthritis, her eyes sharp with intelligence. "You're the new one," she says, assessing me. "From the big city." "Boston," I confirm, kneeling beside her to take her blood pressure. "Running from something or towards something?" she asks, wincing as I gently examine her swollen joints. The question catches me off guard. "Both, I suppose." She nods, satisfied. "Good answer. Single direction never gets you anywhere worth going." She fixes me with a penetrating stare. "My Albert passed 3 years ago. Married 57 years. Some folks around here still treat me like I might shatter." I adjust her medication, explaining the changes as I write them down in large, clear letters. "You don't strike me as the shattering type, Mrs. Gardner." Her laugh fills the small living room. "Call me Edith. And you're right. Bent maybe, like these fingers, but not broken." Something passes between us, understanding, recognition, two women reshaping their lives around absence. "You come for Sunday dinner this weekend," she says as I pack up my bag. No arguments. Doctors need feeding too. Driving back to the clinic, I roll down my window. The Oregon air smells of pine and possibility. For the first time since watching Nathan walk away with my sister, I feel the tight band around my chest loosen. Not healing, not yet, but the first hint that healing might be possible. That night, in my cabin, I sit on the tilted porch with a cup of tea, watching stars appear in a sky unmarred by city lights. Tomorrow I'll organize the town's first mobile health screening. Next week, I'll learn the names of my regular patients. This month, I'll paint the cabin's weathered siding. Small steps. New routes. One day at a time. 3 years later, I stand at the podium, bathed in the cool blue lights of the Seattle Convention Center, my notes perfectly aligned before me. The microphone picks up my steady voice as I gesture toward the projection screen behind me. Rural communities deserve more than weekend clinics and volunteer medical students, I say, clicking to the next slidea. Simple graph showing Trinity Care's 3-year improvement in chronic disease management. They deserve continuity. They deserve doctors who know their names, their families, their stories. The audience of healthcare executives and physicians nods in collective agreement. 3 years ago, I would have gripped the podium with white knuckles, afraid my voice might crack, terrified someone would stand up and call me a fraud. Today, my hands move with purpose, emphasizing points I've lived and breathed since arriving in Wren Hill. When Mrs. Gardner came to Trinity Care, she'd seen 14 different providers in 2 years. I pause, letting that number sink in. 14 different people asking the same questions, ordering the same tests, never connecting her irregular heartbeat to her insomnia, to her anxiety. From the third row, Warren catches my eye. His subtle nod fuels my confidence. 3 years of mentorship turned friendship turned into something neither of us has named yet. Today, Mrs. Gardner manages her conditions with one primary physician, quarterly check-ins, and a community health worker who stops by for tea every Thursday. Her ER visits? 0 in the past 18 months. A murmur of approval ripples through the ballroom. This is my moment. The validation of everything I've built from the ashes of my former life. Then I see her. 5th row aisle seat. Delia, my sister, my betrayer. The sight of her hits me like a physical blow. She sits with perfect posture in a crisp coral blazer, her dark hair cut in a sleek bob that frames her face. A small silver name badge glints on her lapel. Even from 30 feet away, I can read the company name, Metasphere Consulting. Our eyes lock. Her lips curve into a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I force myself to continue, my mouth suddenly dry. The cost savings from preventive care. My voice falters for a fraction of a second, but I recover. The cost savings from preventative care versus emergency intervention pays for our program 3 times over. Warren shifts in his seat, his attention now divided between me and the unwelcome visitor he's spotted. His shoulders tense as he makes the connection. I click through the remaining slides, highlighting Trinity Care's community partnerships, our telehealth integration, our medication adherence rates. The data speaks for itself, a testament to work that saved me when I most needed saving. Thank you for your attention, I conclude. I welcome your questions. Hands rise throughout the audience. The moderator calls on a hospital administrator from Minnesota, then a physician researcher from Johns Hopkins. Their questions are thoughtful, their interest genuine. Then the moderator points to the 5th row. Yes, the woman in coral. Delia stands, smoothing her skirt. Delia Sutton, healthcare media consultant with Metasphere. She omits our shared maiden name, but several heads turn between us, the resemblance unmistakable. Whispers flutter through the crowd. Dr. Brenner, your results are impressive, she begins, her voice carrying the practiced warmth she uses to disarm. I'm curious, given your background and personal journey, how do you address emotional resilience with your staff? After all, healthcare providers often face personal setbacks that could impact patient care. The question hangs in the air. Every ear strains for my response, though few understand the knife edge hidden in her words. Warren stiffens, half rising before catching himself. The room holds its breath. I look directly at Delia, refusing to shrink. Character is built in moments of challenge. I say, my voice clear and unhurried. Every provider at Trinity Care understands that our patients bring their whole stories to us, not just their symptoms. We can hardly expect to treat them with compassion if we haven't done the work of understanding our own narratives. I allow myself the smallest of smiles. Sometimes the greatest innovations come from rebuilding after loss. It forces us to question assumptions about what's necessary and what's merely comfortable. Delia's expression falters. This isn't the reaction she expected. The moderator clears her throat. Next question, please. After the session, attendees cluster around me, business cards extended, invitations to collaborate offered. Through the crowd, I glimpse Warren intercepting Delia in the hallway. Though I can't hear their exchange, his stance protective, resolute, speaks volumes. Delia's face tightens before she turns and walks briskly toward the exit. Later that evening, Warren and I sit across from each other at a small waterfront restaurant. The Seattle skyline glitters across the harbor, lights dancing on the dark water. Conference director pulled me aside, Warren says, breaking a piece of sourdough. Said they've never seen such a graceful handling of an obvious ambush. I take a sip of wine. I almost froze when I saw her. No one would have known. His eyes, warm and certain, meet mine. Marianne Hammond from the Westridge Foundation mentioned she canceled her meeting with Metasphere tomorrow. That wasn't my intention. I know. Warren reaches across the table, his fingers stopping just short of mine. That's why it happened. Your work speaks for itself, Callie. I place my hand over his, the contact sending warmth up my arm. So does yours. Around us, the restaurant hums with conversation and clinking glasses. Tomorrow we'll return to Wren Hill, to our patients, to the life I've carefully constructed. Delia will return to Boston, to whatever she's made of the pieces she took from me. For the first time, I realize I don't need those pieces back. 3 years later, I stand at the window of my childhood bedroom, watching early morning light filter through maple branches. The bedroom remains frozen in time debate trophies, medical school acceptance letter framed on the wall, and a photo of Dad teaching me to fish at Lake Winnipesaukee when I was 12. Every surface holds memories that now ache with his absence. Downstairs, the grandfather clock, the one Dad restored the summer before I left for Yale, chimes 7 times. Its familiar tone only emphasizes what's missing. His humming in the kitchen, the rustle of his newspaper, the soft padding of his slippers across hardwood floors. Warren appears in the doorway, already dressed in his dark suit, his presence a steady anchor in this house of ghosts. Your mom made coffee, he says quietly. I nod, smoothing invisible wrinkles from my black dress. I keep looking at his chair in the living room, expecting him to be there. Warren crosses the room and stands beside me, his shoulder touching mine. We've been married 2 years, but in moments like this, I still marvel at how he knows exactly when to speak and when to simply exist alongside my grief. Downstairs, Mom wraps her arms around me, her embrace fierce despite her diminished frame. She smells of the lavender soap Dad always bought her for Christmas. "He was so proud of you, Callie," she whispers against my hair. "Every time your name appeared in a medical journal, he made copies for everyone at his bridge club." I swallow hard against the knot in my throat. I should have visited more. Nonsense. Mom pulls back, her eyes red, rimmed but clear. "You built a life worth living. That's what he wanted most." Warren touches the small of my back as we gather our things. His wedding band catches the light simple platinum, no diamonds, no betrayals. The funeral home sits on Beacon Street, its brick facades somber against a cloudless October sky. We arrive early, greeting the director and reviewing arrangements one final time. The chapel fills gradually with Dad's colleagues, neighbors, and friends from the university, where he taught economics for 30 years. At precisely 11:07 after the service was scheduled to begin, the rear doors swing open. The low murmur of respectful conversation falters. Delia strides in, Nathan one step behind her. My sister wears a designer black dress with an elaborate jeweled collar that catches the light from stained glass windows. Nathan's watch platinum and ostentatious flashes as he helps her remove a fur-trimmed coat. "Subtle as a hurricane," Warren murmurs, his hand finding mine. Delia makes her way through the gathering, stopping to accept condolences with practiced grace. Her performance is flawless, the bereaved daughter returning home, chin tilted at the perfect angle of dignified grief. Nathan hovers awkwardly beside her, clearly uncomfortable as several of Dad's oldest friends stare with undisguised judgment. I focus on greeting Professor Williams, Dad's department chair, when a cloud of expensive perfume announces my sister's approach. "Callie." Delia air kisses near my cheek. Her eyes, so similar to mine in color but nothing else, scan me quickly. "Still on your own, little sister? I worried you might be alone today." Warren steps forward before I can respond, his hand extended. "Dr. Warren Cole, Callie's husband." The ripple of recognition moves through nearby mourners. Dad's closest friends smile knowingly. Delia recovers quickly, but not before I catch the flicker of surprise. 2 years now, isn't it? I'm sorry we couldn't attend the wedding." "No invitation was sent," I say simply. From the corner of my eye, I see Nathan freeze mid-conversation. The color drains from his face as he recognizes Warren, the respected medical researcher who, 4 years ago, rejected Nathan's rushed proposal for investment in his medical technology startup. Warren had seen through the sketchy business model within minutes. "If you'll excuse us," I say. They're ready to begin. The service unfolds with dignified simplicity. When it's time for the eulogy, I approach the podium, feeling the weight of 200 eyes upon me. The paper in my hands remains unread. I know these words by heart. "My father believed that life reveals character through our choices." I begin. Not the easy ones made in daylight with everyone watching, but the hard decisions made in darkness when no one would know the difference. As I speak about Dad's integrity, his dedication to students, his love of classical music, I watch faces in the congregation. Mom nods gently in the front row. Warren's eyes never leave mine, and somewhere in the middle, Delia shifts uncomfortably as several heads turn subtly toward her. "Dad taught me to choose the right people to trust." I continue. "He showed me that true success isn't measured by appearances or possessions, but by the lives you touch and the good you leave behind." After the service, people gather around Mom and me, sharing stories and offering support. I notice how Delia stands increasingly alone, Nathan absorbed in his phone across the room. The power has shifted, not through confrontation but through the quiet testimony of choices made and lives built. At the cemetery, autumn leaves carpet the ground in gold and crimson. I place a single white rose on Dad's casket, his favorite flower from the garden he tended for 40 years. Delia stands awkwardly at the edge of the gathering, her stiletto heels sinking into soft earth, her expensive dress fluttering in the October wind. As we turn to leave, Warren whispers, "Your father would be proud of how you handled today." I look back once. Delia remains by the grave, finally alone with the father whose approval she never stopped seeking but never learned how to earn. In that moment, revenge seems a hollow concept compared to the simple peace of knowing who you are and being exactly where you belong. The mountains of western Oregon rise around us like guardians as Warren's truck winds along the familiar curves toward home. After 2 weeks away, the Douglas firs stand taller in my memory, their evergreen scent filtering through the partially opened window. Warren's hand finds mine across the console, his thumb tracing small circles against my skin. "You okay?" he asks, eyes flicking between me and the road ahead. I turn from the window, studying the lines of his face, the silver threading through his temples that wasn't there when we first met. "Better now," I say, meaning it. Boston feels like another lifetime. The tension that had coiled in my shoulders since my father's funeral begins to unravel with each mile marker we pass. Warren doesn't press for conversation, understanding the quiet space I need to transition between worlds. The radio plays softly Fleetwood Mac, my father's favorite, and I let myself remember him without the overlay of Delia's performance at the funeral, without Nathan's uncomfortable hovering near the back of the church. When we crest the final hill overlooking Wren Hill, the late afternoon sun catches on the river that cuts through the valley. The scattered buildings of our town nestle against the landscape rather than imposing upon it. Our cabin sits on the eastern ridge, its cedar siding weathered to a soft gray. "Look," Warren says softly, nodding toward the driveway. 3 cars are parked beside our porch. Through the kitchen window, I can see movement Patricia's silver bob, the broad shoulders of Sam from the pharmacy, Eliza's bright scarf as she arranges something on our table. "They didn't have to do that," I whisper, unexpected tears pricking my eyes. Warren squeezes my hand. "That's Wren Hill for you. We take care of our own." Inside, the scent of rosemary chicken and fresh bread wraps around us. Patricia hurries forward, enveloping me in a hug that smells of her lavender perfume. "We figured you wouldn't want to cook tonight," she says, pulling back to examine my face. "You look tired, sweetheart." Sam passes me a glass of wine. "To your dad," he says simply. "Patricia told us he was a good man." I nod, unable to speak for a moment. These people never met my father, yet they honor him because he was mine. The contrast between this sincere kindness and the strained formality of Boston crashes over me. It feels good to be home, I manage finally, looking at the faces around Minot colleagues, but friends who became family when my own fractured. Later, after everyone leaves, Warren brings in the mail that was collected during our absence. Among the bills and medical journals sits a cream envelope with my mother's handwriting. "She already wrote?" Warren asks, settling beside me on the sofa. The letter is brief. "Nathan's medical technology company has failed investors pulled out after a product safety scandal. Delia has filed for divorce, moved back to their childhood home in Vermont." Warren watches my face as I fold the letter. "Feel vindicated?" he asks carefully. I consider the question, searching for the satisfaction I might have once expected to feel. "No," I answer, surprising myself with the truth of it. "No one wins when a family breaks." Warren nods, drawing me against his chest. "That's why I married you," he murmurs into my hair. "Your heart makes room for understanding without requiring you to make room for toxicity." Outside our window, the Oregon sunset paints the sky in shades of amber and lavender. Birds call to one another as they settle for the night. This place, this life we've built holds nothing of what I once thought I wanted, yet contains everything I never knew I needed. Trinity Care's rural healthcare model is being adopted in 3 more states. I tell Warren, thinking of the award letter that arrived before we left for the funeral. They want me to head up the regional implementation team. His eyes crinkle at the corners. "Dr. Brenner changing American healthcare from a cabin in Wren Hill. Your father would have loved that story." I rest my head against his shoulder, watching the last light fade beyond our porch. The swing sways gently beneath us, its familiar creak a counterpoint to the evening chorus of crickets and distant owls. Some people steal what you thought you needed, so you're forced to find what you actually deserve. The cream-colored envelope sits on my kitchen counter like an elegant bomb. Morning light spills across the handcrafted paper, illuminating the gold calligraphy that announces my parents' 47th wedding anniversary celebration. My fingers trace the date circled in gold, the 8th of September. My birthday. Again. Gatsby stretches on the windowsill, his ancient feline body arching toward the sunshine. His amber eyes blink slowly as I scan my empty mantle. Not a single birthday card, not one. "What do you think, old friend? Another year of invisibility?" I whisper. The phone rings, splitting the quiet. Mother's name flashes on the screen. I take a breath before answering. Good morning, Mother. Clarissa, have you started on the anniversary speech yet? Her voice carries that crisp, no-nonsense tone she reserves for matters of supreme importance. No greeting, no pleasantries. I've been outlining some thoughts. I lie, staring at the blank notepad beside me. Well, don't wait until the last minute. You know how these things go. A pause. The country club needs final head counts by Friday. I wait for it some acknowledgement, however small, that the date holds significance beyond their anniversary. The silence stretches. Clarissa, are you there? Yes, I'm here. Always waiting. I was just looking at the invitation. The 8th is... You've done this for 13 years now, dear, she interrupts. Don't make this difficult. My gaze drifts to my desk where my manuscript sits. Unclaimed Years stares back at me, the title a quiet accusation against the family that taught me to disappear. Mother, I was simply going to mention that the 8th is... Your father and I are counting on you, she continues, as if I hadn't spoken. The governor's wife will be there this year. Everything must be perfect. Perfect. Her favorite word. The standard to which everything in her world must adhere, especially her children. Dean with his surgical practice, and perfect sons. Yvonne with her architectural firm and perfect husband. And then there's me, the eldest, the English teacher turned writer, the imperfect one. Clarissa? I'll work on it this week, I say, the words tasting like surrender. Wonderful. I knew you'd understand. Her voice brightens, mission accomplished. Oh, and wear that forest green dress from last Christmas. It hides your middle quite nicely. The memory surfaces before I can stop at last year's anniversary celebration. The country club dining room is draped in white orchids. Me, standing at the podium, delivering a speech about enduring love, while my own birthday candles remained unlit. Wren, my beautiful 21-year-old daughter, tugging my sleeve afterward. Mom, it's your birthday too. Shouldn't we sing for you? Mother overheard, her smile tightening. This is about your grandparents' marriage, not birthdays. Wren's confused expression. My practiced smile. I need to go, Mother. I say now, my hand trembling around the phone. Don't forget. The speech. I know. The call ends. I set the phone down and place both palms flat against the cool countertop, steadying myself. My laptop sits open, the manuscript nearly complete. 13 years of speeches celebrating their marriage while my birthdays vanished. 13 years of showing up, being dutiful, remaining invisible. The front door opens, followed by the thud of a backpack hitting the floor. Mom, you home? Wren's voice fills the house with light. In the kitchen, I call back, quickly wiping my eyes. She appears in the doorway, tall and confident in a way I never was at her age. Her dark hair so like mine before the silver streaks claimed it falls in waves past her shoulders. I was thinking we could grab lunch at Myrtle's, she says, kissing my cheek. My treat. What's the occasion? Her face goes blank for a moment. No reason, just hungry. The realization cuts deeper than it should. Even Wren has forgotten. I've trained everyone so well. Sure, sweetheart, let me grab my purse. She notices the envelope on the counter. Grandma and Grandpa's anniversary invitation? I nod. Same day as your birthday. Again. Her brow furrows. Don't they ever notice? The question hangs between us. Something shifts in my chest, not the familiar accommodation, but something hotter, less manageable. They notice, I say quietly. They just don't care. Wren's eyes widen at my uncharacteristic honesty. I move toward my study, beckoning her to follow. There's something I need to show you. I pull the photo album from my bottom desk drawer. Decades of evidence. Birthday parties canceled for Dean's baseball games. My college graduation was overshadowed by Yvonne's surprise engagement announcement. My wedding day, when Father gave a toast about hoping Clarissa will finally find her purpose. Wren flips through the pages, her expression transforming from confusion to anger. They've trained all of us to forget you, haven't they? She whispers, looking up at me with horrified understanding. I don't answer. I don't need to. Instead, I open my laptop and turn the screen toward her. This is what I've been writing. It's called Unclaimed Years. My finger hovers over the dedication page. To the ones who taught me that being invisible doesn't mean you don't exist. For the first time in 46 years, I feel seen. The next morning, the phone rings at 7:15 a.m., jerking me from sleep. Dean's name flashes on the screen, an unusual occurrence this early. My brother calls precisely 3 times a year: Christmas, Mother's birthday, and when he needs something. What did you say to Mom? His voice hammers through the line without greeting. She called me in tears last night. I sit up in bed, Gatsby shifting with annoyance at the disturbance. Good morning to you too, Dean. Cut the crap, Clarissa. She said you refused to write the anniversary speech. The sun slants through my blinds, painting stripes across the rumpled bedding. I hadn't actually refused not yet, but Mother's talent for preemptive strikes remains unmatched. I never said that. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. Then what's the problem? You've done it for 13 years running. Why start trouble now? 13 years. The number hangs between us like an indictment. 13 birthdays erased. Have you looked at the calendar lately, Dean? Do you know what the 8th of September is? A pause. The sound of papers shuffling. Tuesday? My birthday. The words fall into silence. Another pause, longer this time. Well, sure, but what does that? My phone buzzes with an incoming text. Yvonne, right on cue. Don't be difficult, just write the speech like always. Dean, I need to go. Tell Mom I'll call her later. Clarissa, don't hang. I end the call and open Yvonne's text. My sister, 3,000 miles away in San Francisco, still functioning as Mother's perfect lieutenant. Below her first message appears another. It's just a birthday. You'll have another one next year. The voicemail notification appears as I'm contemplating a response. Father's voice unusually tense. Your mother needs this celebration to be perfect, Clarissa. The governor's wife is coming. Call your mother. Not one mention of my birthday. Not one. Later that day, the attic stairs creak under our weight. Wren leads the way, a flashlight beam bobbing across dusty cardboard boxes. Are you sure about this, Mom? She sounds uncertain, stepping carefully around a stack of Christmas decorations. I need to know if I'm crazy, I whisper, if I've been imagining this all these years. We find the storage bins marked Family Records tucked beneath the eaves. Inside, manila folders are organized by year, Mother's impeccable system working against her for once. Start with my 16th birthday, I suggest, settling cross-legged on the plywood floor. Wren pulls the 1995 folder, flipping through papers until she freezes. Mom. She hands me a bundle secured with a faded ribbon. Birthday cards from grandparents, aunts, cousin Saul addressed to me. All still sealed, all dated around my 16th birthday. I never saw these, I whisper, running my finger over my grandmother's handwriting. She sent me $20 every birthday until she died. I thought she'd stopped caring. Wren pulls another folder, then another. More cards, letters, invitations. What's this? She holds up an ornate invitation to a writing award ceremony from my senior year of high school. The envelope addressed to me had been sliced open, the contents removed, then carefully resealed. I was nominated for a state writing prize. They said they sent the invitation, but it never came. My throat tightens. I missed the ceremony. Mother said these things were just participation trophies anyway. Another folder yields my childhood diaries, each page documenting small erasures. Birthday parties rescheduled for Dean's baseball games. Christmas mornings when my wish lists were misplaced. Awards dinners my parents skipped. This wasn't accidental, Wren says, her voice hollow. This was systematic. I finished, the word tasting like metal. They systematically made me invisible. 15 minutes later, the bathroom mirror reflects a stranger. A woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes that have seen too much. I lean forward, hands gripping the porcelain sink. I will not be giving a speech this year. The words hang in the steamy air. 5 practice attempts and my voice still trembles. I will not be giving a speech this year. Stronger now. My phone buzzes from the counter. Dean's wife, Vanessa. We need to talk. I stare at the message, then type back. Come over at 4, we'll have tea. For the first time in my life, I don't append an apology. In the living room, I place my manuscript prominently on the coffee table between 2 teacups. Unclaimed years, faces upward, impossible to miss. No more hiding. My phone pings with a message from Sasha, my publisher. The editorial board wants to move up your release date. Your story needs to be heard. Another text from Martha next door, 92 and sharper than most 60-year-olds. Bringing over shortbread. Some stories take courage to tell. I have my own family. A calendar notification from my writing group. Surprise gathering tonight. Bring only yourself. These people see me. These people have always seen me. My laptop sits open on the kitchen counter, a blank email addressed to my entire family. I type slowly, deliberately. I will not be attending the anniversary this year. My finger hovers over the send button. In the doorway, Ren watches, her expression a mixture of anxiety and pride. I add a final line. My memoir, Unclaimed Years, a daughter's memoir of being overlooked, will be published next week. Send. I power off my phone as notifications begin flooding in. The silence feels like victory. Ren crosses the room and squeezes my hand. I'm proud of you, Mom. For the first time in 46 years, the words register not as platitude but as truth. I am becoming someone to be proud of, someone who refuses to disappear. Next week, my writing studio smells of lemon oil and old paper. Morning sunlight filters through Venetian blinds, casting prison bar shadows across 4 decades of journals stacked on my oak desk. I run my fingers along their spined leather for my teens, blue canvas for my 20s, practical black for my 30s, a rainbow-colored chronicle of invisibility. Ren sits cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by open journals, her face a map of emotions as she turns each page. Mom, I had no idea. Her voice catches. It's all here, every single time. I nod, unable to speak. 38 years of meticulous documentation spread before us like evidence at a crime scene. She holds up a faded Lisa Frank diary, its unicorn cover incongruously bright against the weight of its contents. You were 8. She reads aloud. Today is my birthday. Mom and Dad forgot to pick me up from school. Mrs. Abernathy had to call them 3 times. When they came, Mom said they were busy planning Dean's baseball party next month. The memory crashes through me, standing alone on the school steps, the hollow feeling in my chest as darkness fell, Mrs. Abernathy's pitying glance. Keep reading, I whisper. Ren flips forward. Christmas 1985. Everyone got wrapped presents. Mine were in plastic bags from the gas and go. Mom said she ran out of time. She looks up. You were 13. I take a leather journal from the desk, opening to a dog-eared page. This one matters. The handwriting is smaller, more controlled. High school graduation today. They left after I received my diploma. Dad said they couldn't miss Dean's regional baseball game. My name wasn't even spelled correctly in the program Clarice instead of Clarissa, but no one noticed. Ren closes the unicorn diary, her knuckles white. How did you survive this? By disappearing. I pull the oldest journal from the bottom of the stack. I learned early. Look at this entry from when I was 6. If I'm very quiet and help in the kitchen, Mom smiles at me. The doorbell rings, startling us both. I check my watch, 10:17 a.m. That'll be the cavalry, Ren says with a grim smile. Through the peephole, I see them. Mother, perfectly coiffed in pale blue linen. Father, uncomfortable in his Sunday blazer despite the heat. Dean, arms crossed over his chest. Vanessa, my brother's wife, hovering uncertainly behind them. My pulse thunders in my ears. I straighten my shoulders and open the door. Clarissa Jean. Mother's voice breaks on my middle name. Her eyes are red, rimmed, makeup impeccable despite the tears. How could you embarrass us like this? I step back, allowing them into my living room without responding. The manuscript of Unclaimed Years sits prominently on the coffee table between us. Mother's gaze falls on it as if it were a loaded gun. This has gone far enough, Dean says. His voice carries the same authoritative tone he uses with his surgical residents. You need to cancel this book right now. Father remains silent, his eyes taking in the framed book cover mock-up Sasha had sent over yesterday. Did you even read what I sent you? I ask quietly. I didn't need to read past the first page, Mother snaps. Airing family laundry for strangers to gawk at? What would Grandmother Harrington say? She'd probably ask why you scheduled your anniversary party on my birthday. Again, the words slide out smooth as river stones. Dean's face flushes. For God's sake, Clarissa, it's just a day on the calendar. 46 days, 46 birthdays, 13 consecutive anniversaries. Mother presses a tissue to her lips. We're not monsters, Clarissa, we didn't realize. You knew. My voice doesn't rise, but something in its certainty makes them all fall silent. I've been silent for 46 years, I won't be silent anymore. The doorbell rings again. Wren answers it, ushering in Martha from next door, carrying a basket covered with a checkered cloth. Brought you some sourdough, dear. Martha's voice carries clearly as she sizes up my family. At 82, she's long past caring what anyone thinks. Figured you might need sustenance for the battle. Vanessa shifts uncomfortably. Clarissa, perhaps we could discuss this privately. No. The word emerges stronger than I expected. I've had enough privacy, enough silence. I pick up the manuscript, feeling its weight both physical and symbolic. Let me read you something. No one moves, no one breathes. The 10th anniversary celebration fell on my 36th birthday. I stood in Mother's kitchen for 6 hours, dicing vegetables and arranging canapes while fighting waves of nausea. My temperature had climbed to 102 degrees, but I'd promised to help. More importantly, I'd promised to give the speech. Mother's hand flies to her throat. Father looks away. I delivered the toast to their enduring love with sweat soaking my back. My voice didn't waver. No one noticed when I disappeared to the country club bathroom afterward and collapsed against the cool marble floor. No one came looking for me for over an hour. I didn't know you were sick, Mother whispers. You didn't ask. I closed the manuscript. I began writing this book that night, typing with shaking hands on my phone while lying on that bathroom floor. Dean steps forward, hands open in what looks like surrender. Look, we can fix this. We'll acknowledge your birthday at the anniversary this year. We'll sing and have a cake. A laugh escapes me short, sharp, devoid of humor. I don't want a cake, Dean, I want acknowledgement of what happened. Not just to me, but through me to Wren, who learned that women's celebrations come second. To Vanessa, who watches how you treat me and wonders where she stands. To every friend who noticed the pattern I was trained not to see. Vanessa's eyes meet mine, something like recognition flashing between us. Stand your ground, dear. Martha's quiet voice carries from the kitchen doorway. Mother rises, gathering her purse. I can't listen to this, it's cruel and unfair. Life is unfair, Mother. Ask your invisible daughter. They file out one by one, Mother first, Dean close behind. Father lingers, his hand on the doorknob. Trey, Mother calls sharply from the driveway. He turns, really looking at me, perhaps for the first time. I'm sorry, he says simply, then closes the door behind him. The house falls silent. Martha squeezes my shoulder before letting herself out the back door, leaving the bread behind. Wren comes to stand beside me, surveying the abandoned battlefield of my living room. What happens now? I pick up my phone, scrolling to Sasha's number. Now we make sure the book comes out on my birthday. The manuscript catches the midday light, its title embossed in silver against cream paper. Unclaimed years. No longer hidden, no longer silent. My voice finally heard. 2 days later, the manila envelope from Sasha sits open on my desk, advanced copies of my memoir peeking out like evidence at a trial. The morning sun catches the embossed title, Unclaimed Years. My fingers trace the raised letters, still not quite believing this moment is real. My phone buzzes. Lorraine's name flashes on the screen for the 7th time this morning. I silence it and turn it face down. You don't have to answer, Wren says, setting a mug of Earl Grey beside me. You don't owe them explanations anymore. The radio plays softly in the background, the local station where I'm scheduled to appear tomorrow. The host's earlier words still ring in my ears. Joining us will be Clarissa Bellamy, discussing emotional neglect in so-called respectable families. Respectable, the word my mother hides behind like armor. The doorbell rings. Ren glances through the front window and sighs. Grandma's here with photo albums? Right on schedule, I mutter, straightening my spine. The desperation tour begins. Lorraine stands on my porch, clutching weathered photo albums to her chest, her pearl necklace perfectly centered as always. Her smile tightens when she sees me. Clarissa, darling, I've been calling all morning. I noticed. She falters, then thrusts the albums forward. I found these in the attic. So many wonderful birthday memories I thought we could reminisce over. My laugh comes out sharp enough to cut glass. Birthday memories? That's certainly a creative approach. Don't be difficult, she says, her voice dropping to that warning tone I've heeded my entire life. May I come in? I step aside without answering. Ren catches my eye from the kitchen doorway, gives me a subtle thumbs up. Lorraine spreads the albums on my coffee table, flipping pages with manicured fingernails. Look, your 8th birthday party. Remember the pony rides? I stare at the photo. Dean sits atop a brown pony, grinning widely. I'm barely visible at the edge of the frame, watching. That was Dean's birthday, Mother. Mine was the week before, when you and Father went to Bermuda. Her smile doesn't waver. Are you sure? My goodness, the years blend together. They don't for me. She flips faster through pages. Well, here's your sweet 16 celebration. The dinner Father canceled because of Yvonne's choir concert? We had cake in the car on the way home. Lorraine's fingers pause. For just a moment, something like recognition flickers across her face. Then it's gone, replaced by practiced brightness. Clarissa, about this book of yours. The timing is unfortunate. The governor's wife called to cancel her appearance at our anniversary. People are talking. And there it is, the real reason for this visit. How unfortunate for you. She closes the album with a snap. We thought perhaps we could combine celebrations this year. Acknowledge your birthday during the anniversary toast. The audacity steals my breath. 46 years of invisibility, and now they want to acknowledge my existence because it threatens their social standing. No. No? She blinks rapidly. But Dean and your father agree it's the perfect solution. Perfect for whom exactly? For the family, of course. I lean forward. I haven't been part of the family since I was born, Mother. I've been the audience, the helper, the speechwriter, the silent supporter. But never actually included. That's absurd. Her voice rises. You've always been difficult, always felt sorry for yourself. We gave you everything. Except recognition. Except for the simple dignity of acknowledging my birthday. This is what I mean. She stands, smoothing her skirt, so dramatic over something so trivial. I stand too, power shifting between us like tectonic plates. If it's so trivial, why not move your anniversary party to another day? Just once in 47 years? The question hangs between us. Her lips part, close again. For once, Lorraine Harrington has no ready answer. The doorbell rings again. Ren peeks out. It's Uncle Dean. Perfect timing. Dean barrels in without waiting for an invitation, his surgeon's confidence preceding him. Mom's upset. This has gone far enough, Clarissa. Has it? I ask quietly. Because I've only just begun. The country club is buzzing with gossip. Dad's golf partners are asking questions. How terrible for him. Dean's face reddens. Look, we're willing to make this right. Dad's offering to throw you a proper birthday celebration if you'll reconsider the book release. I walk to my desk and lift a stack of identical envelopes, each bearing a family member's name. These are advance copies of my memoir. I've inscribed each one personally. Dean stares at them like they might explode. I'm not canceling my book, I'm not attending the anniversary, and I'm certainly not accepting a pity birthday party at this late date. You're making a mistake, Lorraine whispers. This book will tear the family apart. I hand them each their envelope. The family was never whole to begin with, Mother, not with me written out of it. They leave and stages Dean first, slamming the door. Lorraine lingering on the porch, her face a portrait of confusion and anger. When they're gone, Ren wraps her arms around me. You okay? My hands are shaking, but my voice is steady. I've never been better. My phone lights up with a text from Sasha. Local newspaper wants to run a feature on the book. Publication date? I type back a single date, the 8th of September. My birthday, my story, my terms. For the first time in my life, I'm not invisible, and it terrifies them. On my birthday and book publication day, the bookstore hums with anticipation. Standing behind a wooden podium adorned with a modest arrangement of wildflowers, I survey the crowd that fills every chair and spills along the walls. My memoir sits in neat stacks on the table beside me, the cover art simple yet striking, a birthday cake with 46 unlit candles. Unclaimed Years stares back at me in bold serif font, my truth, bound and published. Ready? Sasha whispers, her publisher's instinct sensing my thundering heart. For 46 years, I answer, smoothing my cobalt blue dress chosen deliberately to replace the forest green my mother insisted hid my middle. The bookstore owner steps to the microphone. We're honored to welcome Clarissa Bellamy on this special evening, both her book launch and her birthday. Applause ripples through the room. Birthday. The word hangs in the air, acknowledged and celebrated. My throat tightens. Ren catches my eye from the front row, her smile fierce with pride. Beside her sat Martha from next door, my writing group, former students, neighbors, people who see me. I step to the podium, fingers tracing the manuscript pages I've prepared. The first paragraph blurs before me. Breathe, Clarissa. Thank you all for coming tonight. This book. The bell above the bookstore door jingles. Heads turn. My words falter. Trey Harrington stands in the doorway, my father's tall frame slightly stooped now, his silver hair combed neatly to the side. He clutches a small package wrapped in silver paper. The room falls silent. My prepared speech lies forgotten on the podium. He moves slowly down the center aisle, eyes never leaving mine. Conversations hush. Ren half rises from her seat, protective instincts flaring. I give her a small shake of my head. She sits, watching. My father stops at the edge of the podium. Clarissa, he says, his voice rough with age or emotion, I cannot tell. May I speak? Sasha steps forward, publisher's protectiveness radiating. Mr. Harrington, this is a scheduled event. It's all right, I say, surprising myself. Let him speak. The microphone amplifies his shaky breath as he steps forward. His hand so large in my childhood, memories tremble slightly. I've never been good with words, he begins. That was always your gift. He glances at the book. I haven't read your memoir yet. Lorraine refused to open her copy. Someone in the audience coughs. The air conditioning hums. Every eye watches this unexpected drama unfold. But I know what's in it. He looks down at his polished shoes. 46 birthdays. 46 times we celebrated our anniversary and forgot the day also belonged to you. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Dean, most likely, trying a different angle after his earlier texts failed. Mom's having a breakdown, you need to come. We didn't forget, my father continues, the confession hanging heavy. That's worse, isn't it? We remembered and still chose to make the day about us. The audience sits motionless. This unscripted moment holds them transfixed. I failed to see my daughter for 46 years. The words echo through the speakers, bouncing off book-lined walls. My chest constricts, years of invisible pain suddenly witnessed by a room full of strangers. The door flies open again. Lorraine appears, her perfect appearance, slightly disheveled hair escaping its usual lacquered helmet, lipstick slightly smudged. Trey! Her voice carries without need of amplification. What are you doing? She strides down the aisle, designer heels clicking against hardwood. The governor's wife just left our party. 18 people made excuses. Are you satisfied now, Clarissa? The room temperature seems to drop. I see my mother through the eyes of stranger sure dramatic entrance, her concern for appearances rather than connection. I ease the microphone from my father's hands. This is my story to tell. Lorraine's face flushes. Your story? What about our family's privacy? What about what you've done to us? I open my book to a page marked with a yellow sticky note. Finding my voice requires no effort now. My 16th birthday fell on a Tuesday, I read. My parents had flown to Hilton Head for their anniversary weekend. They were supposed to return Monday night. When they hadn't arrived by Tuesday morning, I made my own birthday cake chocolate with vanilla frosting and placed it in the refrigerator before school. I returned to an empty house. At midnight, I put a single candle in my slice and sang to myself. They came home Thursday, having extended their trip. They never mentioned the cake or my birthday. Lorraine's face drains of color. My father's shoulders slump further. I close the book. I'm not reading tonight to punish you. This memoir exists because I finally realized my story matters even when no one else thinks it does. Ren stands now, stepping forward to stand beside me. If you want a relationship with me going forward, I continue, voice steady, there are terms. No more speeches unless you acknowledge years of emotional neglect. No more combined celebrations that erase my birthday. No relationship without therapy and genuine change. Lorraine's perfect mask cracks. For a moment, I glimpse something raw beneath confusion, perhaps, or the dawning horror of seeing yourself clearly for the first time. This isn't how families behave, she whispers. No, I agree, it isn't. My father sets the small silver package on the podium. Happy birthday, Clarissa, he says quietly. The words hang in the air between us, simple, commonplace, revolutionary. The audience erupts in applause as my parents retreat down the aisle. Ren's arm circles my waist, strong and steady. You did it, Mom? She whispers. The silver package remains unopened on the podium as I turn back to the audience. The pages of my speech flutter under my fingertips, but I no longer need them. Thank you for coming to celebrate with me tonight, I say. Now, let me tell you about finding your voice when the world has taught you to be silent. A year later, sunlight dapples through the maple trees in my backyard, casting honey-colored patches across the white tablecloth. I adjust a centerpiece of late summer hydrangeas blue, not navy, and step back to admire the scene. My birthday table, set for 12. Mom, where do you want the champagne glasses? Ren balances a tray of flutes that catch the afternoon light, sending prisms dancing across the lawn. By the punch bowl, my voice carries an unfamiliar confidence. A year's worth of speaking my truth has strengthened vocal cords once strained from swallowing words. Gatsby, impossibly ancient now, watches from his cushioned throne beneath the oak tree. His amber eyes track my movements with feline approval. Can you believe it's been a whole year? Ren sets down the tray and stands beside me, her shoulder touching mine. At 22, she towers an inch above me, her posture straight where mine once curved to make myself smaller. I shake my head. Sometimes it feels like yesterday, sometimes like another lifetime. The doorbell chimes. My writing group arrives first, Martha with her dog-eared copy of my memoir, Sasha with publishing updates tucked in her oversized purse, Thomas with his booming laugh that fills empty spaces. The birthday girl, Martha wraps her arms around me. No speech required today. I laugh, the sound still surprising me with its freedom. Just cake and conversation. And this. Sasha hands me a small package. Inside, a first edition Austen with a note. To the woman who found her voice. The garden fills with chosen family. My neighbor Howard brings his famous potato salad. My college roommate Judith flies in from Arizona. 3 women from my workshop arrive together, each carrying a Journal Me birthday tradition now, encouraging others to document their lives. The cake appears chocolate with buttercream roses. Happy 47th birthday, Clarissa, written in perfect script. No gold-rimmed anniversary decoration in sight. My phone buzzes in my pocket. A text from Trey. Happy birthday, Clarissa. I hope your day is special. Another from Dean and Vanessa. Thinking of you today. The boys made you cards. Nothing from Lorraine. Nothing from Yvonne. The absence stings less than I expected. A small package arrived yesterday, postmarked from Raleigh, my mother's precise handwriting on the label. Inside, a birthday card, the first in decades. The message simple, I see you now. I placed it on my mantle, neither enshrining nor discarding it, one step on a long road. Make a wish, Mom! Ren lights 47 candles, their flames steady in the still September air. I close my eyes. What to wish for when you've already claimed what was stolen? The flames blur through unexpected tear-snot sad ones, but the kind that come when something long broken begins to heal. To being seen, I whisper and blow. Around me, applause erupts. My gaze catches the reflection in the window glass, a woman holding a book in one hand, birthday candle in the other, both the overlooked daughter and the woman who refused invisibility. For the first time in 47 years, I feel complete, unclaimed no more.